Do you need someone that's not afraid to go to trial and fight for your rights? Attorney Paul Harris and his team are willing to go where most firms are not. The courtroom. With a successful track record in civil litigation, criminal defense, including tax issues and healthcare fraud, Harris Law Office will fight for their clients by offering the most aggressive representation in and out of court. Call Paul Harris at Harris Law Office for a free consultation. 304-232-5300.
Hello, everyone. From the Watchdog, I'm the Storm Tracker, Darnell Foster, with a look at your local weather forecast for your Tuesday. Mostly cloudy, a few flurries, a snow shower or two, a daytime high near 32. Mainly clear through the evening and the overnight, with temperatures down to about 8 degrees for the low. Clouds and sunshine mixing for your Wednesday, with highs in the lower 30s. Have yourself a great day, everyone. From the Watchdog, I'm Darnell Foster.
The views and opinions expressed on the following program are not necessarily those of this station or its sponsors.
All right, listen up, you guys. Morning. It's Tuesday.
Today is Tuesday.
I am loving the sound of your voice.
Good morning, sunshine.
Crank up the radio.
You all ready for the big show? Happy Tuesday, everybody.
And action. Okay, let's do it. Hey, guys. You ready to let the dogs out?
All right, let's do this.
Yes, we are ready to let the dogs out.
Well, what are we waiting for?
It's showtime.
Your morning news, weather, and sports, wrapped into his own unique perspective. This is the Watchdog Morning Show with Howard Monroe and Brad Leonard in the producer's chair. Brought to you in part by Wheeling Hospital.
Well, it's not always raining. There'll be days like this. When there's no one complaining. There'll be days like this. When everything falls into place, like the flick of a switch. Oh, my mama told me, there'll be days like this.
You always have to expect days like this. Ice and snow and cold and all that sort of stuff. Days like this we'll have to deal with. Of course, the thing is, we've been dealing with days like this for quite a few days, and they're still with us here this morning. A cold morning, an icy morning. The snow is beginning to let up a little bit, according to Zach Petty over at the Big 7. Zach calls the winter storm Uri the beast that swung through the Ohio Valley. Light precipitation, still some freezing drizzle coming down. Look for slick spots on the roadways. A lot of schools still off schedule. All kinds of things happening as far as that goes. And the good news is Brother Biff made it into work this morning. I'm excited about that, Biffy.
Oh, no problems this morning. Got out to the car and put the frost on and started. Looked at the windows and thought, "Oh, this isn't going to be good." So got the scraper and just kind of started. And once you got it started, the ice literally came off in sheets. I mean, a couple times there was depending on the windows, the one it was, you'd get a little bit of one and then the other half, and the back windshield and the front windshield. I think it was the the front one or the back one, it pretty much came off in like one just like huge chunk of ice once you got it started, and then after that it just kind of slid off, and the roads on the island looked pretty good. Got to the Fort Henry Bridge. The bridge was a little bit wet, but got into town, and town looked.
Now, let me ask you: wet or icy?
It looked wet, but I didn't. I mean, like I said, I didn't have any problem going over it, but I took my time. I mean, I wasn't in any hurry or anything. So it looked wet. It may have been. I don't know. I'm just going by the fact that, I got over it, no problem. But, again, part of that could be because, I took my time going across, and then got into town, and the main street was pretty dry. I mean, where they had, pushed the snow over, there might be, some spots here and there that were, you could tell were a little icy. But for the most part, the roads that I traveled on were in pretty good shape.
I had a hard time assessing it overnight or into the evening and overnight because I didn't go out and about. So one of the ways I try and keep an eye on things is using the traffic cams, which are all over the valley. And the roads they weren't snow covered most of the time. Therefore they looked clear, but it kind of looked like they had that sheen of ice on them. And I was following some of the social media reports, and people were saying a lot of ice on the road. So it's hard for me to tell from sitting inside, looking outside, whether the roads are icy or just a bit wet. And keep in mind, temperature 28 degrees feels like 15. So if there's water on the roads, it is going to be a little bit icy, but I couldn't tell. So your experience, at least your personal experience, was not this horrific sheet of ice all throughout the Ohio Valley that we had been talking about, and maybe we had a bit of overnight, right?
Right. I mean, now granted that's where I was. So yeah, I mean, it was good for me getting in, but now I'm not saying that that's going to be everywhere. That's at least what I traveled early this morning at about 5 o'clock. So, yeah, I mean, but it was good for me. And like you were saying last night, you would look find a street light or something and look, because you didn't know if it was rain that was coming down or if it was the freezing stuff and when it had switched. And I forget what time it was overnight. It was real early in the morning. And I think the wind actually kind of picked up, because I could hear it, rattling the window a little bit. And it sounded like at that point that it was, just from the way that it was coming down, was plain rain. Nothing mixed or anything, just plain rain. And I think that, I want to say, may have been about 1 or 2 in the morning. So it did like it said it was going to last night. I mean, I think they timed everything, pretty good from when it was going to end to when it was going to switch over and everything. So, but I kind of got a little worried, because I thought, well, if it doesn't, if I get up and it's not, doesn't look too good, forget it. I mean, there's no sense in chancing it. But looked out the window and thought, it looks pretty good, and got outside and saw what at least what the roads look like, and I was pleasantly surprised. It was as easy as it was to get in.
Pardon me, our audience ought to know that our entire team was, prepared for all different kinds of things today. Big Rick and Billy D were set to, and probably still will, do their show from home just in case of problems. And the producers, Biff and Lola, we didn't know if they're getting in or not. And Biff was talking about walking in over the suspension bridge if he had to. And I just had visions of you slipping and sliding on that bridge. Although I got to tell you, Biffy, after you told me this morning that you had driven in, I had visions of you getting stuck at the top of the ramp getting onto 70 from the island. I just pictures of just Biff sitting there, not able to get past that little stop sign there. So
that would be my luck too, by the way.
Pal.
That would have been my luck, by the way.
I was thinking to myself, oh God, he got plowed in Monday or whatever day it was. He got plowed in one day.
Tuesday. It was Tuesday of last week.
Last Tuesday, a week ago. So that's just great. He got plowed in one day, and a week later he'll be spinning his tires on the ramp. But yeah, no problems. He got up and all was well. And so I'm glad we're able to be here to serve humanity this morning. Again, according to Zach Petty over the Big Seven, the worst is in the past, at least for now, although there is another round, I guess, of snow activity coming into the late evening on Wednesday, tomorrow night, and then we'll make a mess of the Ohio Valley again on Thursday morning, which is just delightful. Start off snow. This is Thursday now. Going to start off as snow, and then warm up to rain, and then might see some accumulations, and then maybe flooding is a possibility. God help us. I want to see spring flowers. Belmont County is still on a level 2 emergency, I think. Is that correct, Biffy? Their roadways are, which I think means that they are. You don't go out unless you obviously have to, but if you have to, you can go out.
Yeah, Belmont.
I think that's the last I heard.
Yeah, Belmont County's on 2, and I think there's one other county that's on 2 because I think Jefferson was the only one that actually switched. But I think Belmont
They've been a
State
3, which meant Jefferson had been 3, which meant don't go out at all.
Yeah, and then Belmont County and I forget the other county, but it was on. I think they were both on level 2.
And in the schools, as we've had all week and last week, much of last week too, just a mixed bag of tricks. A couple of delays. Several are on remote learning. Some are just actually closed. Period. Ohio County schools are closed today. Just plain closed. No remote learning. No nothing. Just closed for the day today. Marshall County is on remote learning. Many schools are on remote learning today. So, I suspect a lot of concern, Biff, in preparing for this by the school systems was not so much the students and the buses, but could even the teachers. There was fear teachers may not be able to get in because of the snow, the ice coming down. And then I don't know where the power problems are. We have about 1,000 homes in the area without power. Is that what I understand?
Yes, that's the last that I had heard.
John McCabe, newspaper editor extraordinaire, when he wants to find out what's going on the roads, he just gets out and goes on the roads. And he's with us here this morning, John. Good morning, John.
Howard, how are you doing today?
I'm at home, nice and warm in my house, got my coffee here. Everything is good for me, but it sounds like you're out and about. What's it like out and about this morning?
It's much better than it was yesterday morning. That's the easiest way to think of it. Yesterday morning's commute at 7 o'clock was probably 10 times trickier than today's. I mean, it's I don't think I've encountered even the smallest patch of ice coming from, up on top of the hill in Bethlehem down to, Elm Grove and out on 70. So it's a pretty easy commute this morning, all things considered. 50, 55 on the interstate, everything's just wet. I think what's interesting is, if you look at this forecast, and we've talked many times, and I know you disagree with me. I think forecasting is one of those things that I don't find much use in because, as usual, they're way off base. This started out as being 8 to 12 inches of snow, and ended up being a half inch of ice, and that just shows the trickiness of trying to predict what the weather's going to do days in advance because the smallest shift pushed the snow north and brought a little warmer air here, and in turn we got last night was pretty nasty when that the glaze had put on the road, but it's not a bad. It's a pretty easy ride out this morning if you stay on the main roads. That's always the key, is getting to a main road. But no, yesterday was much worse than today.
And the wet roads are just wet. They're not freezing. It's not black ice, or at least not a lot of ice, not a lot of black ice.
No, I think we sometimes, I was thinking about this on the way in this morning. I think we still live like we did in the 70s and 80s for a lot of us, where when ice came, the salt didn't melt as easy, and they didn't have maybe as much salt or as many road crews, or the plows weren't as good. I'll give a lot of credit to guys who work on road crews, from the small towns and villages to the state roads. They do a good job, and again, with calcium chloride and different melting agents they have now, it's again, the main roads. I'm coming down Rock Point Road right now. Rock Point Road is by no means a main thoroughfare, and it might as well be in the middle of springtime and raining out. The road's just wet.
Okay, all right.
So,
and the good news is maybe some of that ice or snow will fill in those giant potholes on Rock Point Road.
There you go. That's always a plus, Howard. There are always silver linings in everything, right?
That's got to look for that. That's for sure. So all right. So it's take it easy. It's take it easy morning based on your experience, but it's not treacherous out there. Not treacherous.
No, I saw saw some people coming from Ohio. And, just take your time like you would any other day in this time of year when it's had some inclement weather. But, I think fortunately the rain stopped early enough overnight that they were able to keep the roads pretty well cleared. The snow never really came. I mean, I don't think, I saw really any snow other than just minor flurries. And so they were able to get roads cleared, and they've stayed cleared. So it's really a pretty easy commute this morning. Depending on where you live. If you're out in Cameron, maybe a little different story, obviously, because they can't get, you're not going to get as much plow and salt out on 250. But around Wheeling and Belmont County, main roads are clear.
All right. I appreciate it, John. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, no problem.
Talking to you later today, right?
Yeah, I think 1 o'clock, aren't we?
I think so. Yep. All right.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Stay safe the rest of the morning. Stay safe at least till after we tape our show. After that, you're on your own.
There you go, Howard. Thank you. See you.
Talk to you later. Thanks, John McCabe, managing editor of the local newspaper. So we got two first-hand reports. Brother Biff traveling in from the island. John up on Rock Point Road right now. What a mess that road is. Just a general comment, not snow comment. And both John and Biff are telling us that the roads are, they're wet and they were icy. I mean, it was pretty bad last night, overnight hours. From all the reports I was getting, it was really bad. I saw a lot of people at the Highlands, for example, who worked at the Highlands, had to work late. Were getting hotel rooms and staying up there and not going home and stuff. So it was pretty bad for a while. But I guess if you're out and about this morning, if you have to be out and about this morning, it's not too bad. And the fact that Biff is there is proof of that, I suppose. If you have a road report of any kind or weather situation you want to update us on, will you please use the text line? That's the way for us to know what you know. 304-214, or you can do it like McCabe said, give us a call too. Text line 304-214-1600, 304-214-1600, the Watchdog Radio Network text line. Feel free to use it. And let me know what roads are like where you are, if you've been out and about yet this morning. Again, I think both John and Biff have really just talked about lower elevations and main roads. Higher elevations, back roads probably have a little different story to them. And it's always a problem I always find is we spend so much of our time here focused on what we know, which tends to be the lower elevations and so on, and that we sometimes forget elsewhere it can be more difficult. As John pointed out, if you're in Cameron, it may be a very difficult thing. I saw some bad reports about Roberts Ridge this morning in Marshall County. So anyways, if you want to give me a road report, please use the text line 304-214-1600, 304-214-1600. If you want to call in, you can do that too. Do so safely now. Don't call in if you're driving, unless you got hands-free. 304-232-8255, 304-232-TALK. But if you have had a chance to get out and about this morning, help your fellow citizens of the Ohio Valley by bringing the information to us here on your only live and local news talk station in the morning. 7:25. So weather, of course, dominating the day. We'll talk about it throughout the morning. Zach in about 15 minutes for an update. What else are we working on today? Child homelessness, a growing problem in West Virginia. We will talk with Tricia Kingler from the Kids Count organization. They've got a new report out on kids in West Virginia and a focus on child homelessness. We talk about homelessness. We've talked about it a lot this week because of the cold weather and so on. There are plenty of children out there in the homeless situation. We'll talk about that coming up a bit later on. In the aftermath of Trump's acquittal, calls are mounting for a congressional investigation into the Capitol insurrection, and some in the Republican Party are retaliating against their own members who voted to convict. D.C. reporter Tom Squitieri is in. He'll put the whole thing together for us. In West Virginia, charter schools, emergency powers, the ability for social welfare agencies to discriminate. I could not believe it when Senator Ehlenfeld called this bill to my attention. Those are among the bills on the legislative items for discussion today. Brad McElhenney coming in a little bit later on to talk to us about some of these things, including a weird deal in the House yesterday where a bill was passed and then it came back to be amended, and I think they amended the amendment, and then they ended up passing. It was bizarre. It was bizarre. And the thing about the story about this bill, which Brad will tell us about, the thing that really scared me was a line from the chairman. I think this was the Judiciary Committee. It was a line from the Judiciary Chairman. And they were having this big debate, and you know, there was a large squabble, even among Republicans, about should we have this amendment, not have this amendment? We already passed the bill. Can we amend the bill now before it gets to the floor for a vote? Should we amend the amendment? It was just a complicated, strange story. And then the chairman says, well, somebody else needs to use this room, so we've got to make a decision fast. And I thought, this is how we're making decisions down there? Somebody else has got to use the room? Don't we take however long it takes to deliberate over a bill? I think this is a bill having to do with the emergency powers of the governor. And I know the puppet master was suggesting that, in his words, the king had gotten involved. And he ain't talking about me and my middle name. He was talking about Governor Justice. Strange story. Brad McElhenney in to talk about that coming up a little bit later on as well. So we have a lot to do today in addition to watching the weather, but we shall watch the weather as well. It's a 7:28 after the hour, 28 degrees at the Wheeling, Ohio County Airport. Let me double check that. Yes, still 28 degrees at the Wheeling, Ohio County Airport. Winds blowing at 14 miles an hour, so it feels like 17 degrees outside. 28 at the Wheeling, Ohio County Airport, 28 at my home studios here in the Elm Grove section of Wheeling, 28 degrees at the Robinson Auto Group Studios, downtown Wheeling, in the heart of the Ohio Valley. Well, Mr. DeFabio has our morning sports report for us. That's coming up in a moment or two. And Stephen's working over at the Big 7, bringing us some Ohio Valley headlines. Then we'll bring Zach in for his live update on how the storm is going, and apparently the answer is it's going away. But we'll talk about that with Zach coming up next as well. You're at the Watchdog Morning Show. Glad you're along for the conversational ride on our Tuesday.
The WTRF Channel 7 News Update is brought to you by Thomas Auto Centers, Mall Road, St. Clairsville. Get the best deal at Thomas Auto Centers. Now.
Okay, I just got a message from Brad. He'll be on at 8:40. And then Squitieri usually at 8:10. And Tricia, somebody or another, I got to double check her name, at 9:10 with Kids Count. So that's our lineup. I was not clear, wasn't sure about Brad, but I just heard from him. So I wasn't going to do it, but this story It's such a strange story. They amended the amendment, and then they had to get out because somebody else needed the room. So, it's kind of like us sometimes. Well, we're having a meeting, but Bill needs the room. We got to go. So, all right. I'm glad McCabe called in too. That was a nice little bit. Yep. Is there anything I've missed? We talked about schools. You know what? I want to check on the vaccination clinics for today, see if they're doing anything on that. That's what I wanted to say.
Save your life. SaveByTheScan.org is brought to you by the American Lung Association's Lung Force Initiative and the Ad Council.
Does this current crisis leave you wondering how to pay your bills? Well, a lot of people are struggling right now. I'm attorney Tom McIntyre. Call me today to schedule your telephone or video conference meeting, and I will send you a copy of my new book about bankruptcy, When Bad Things Happen to Good People. Call 877-456-4155. Together, we will figure out what to do now and what to do when this is over. We will get through this together.
Wheeling Coin and Hobby on 10th Street in Wheeling, next to the Bridge Tavern in downtown Wheeling, wants to buy any and all unwanted gold and silver jewelry. They are paying top dollar for 10, 14, 18, and 22 karat gold plus 925 sterling silver. They also want to buy collectible coins and paper money from before 1933. Wheeling Coin and Hobby is open daily from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., Monday through Saturday. Coin and Hobby, 304-232-8430, and add them on Facebook.
Does your dog need groomed or walked? Are you looking for a pet sitter or dog boarding options? If so, call Dirty Paws, Wheeling's newest pet care service, providing the Ohio Valley with everyone's pet care needs. Check us out on Facebook at Dirty Paws WHG or call 304-639-7754.
From the Watchdog Network, right now traffic. Here's the latest from the Robinson Auto Group Traffic Center.
Traffic near the Highlands, on Washington Avenue, and on the Fort Henry Bridge is on its normal pattern. Traffic near the Ohio Valley Mall, on 70 and 470, and on State Route 7 is running regularly. The lane width reductions on the eastbound entrance ramp and westbound exit ramp to Wheeling Island will continue. The closure of I-70 from US 250 and West Virginia 2 South, the 16th Street exit to the Ogilvy Park exit for Phase 2 of the Fulton Bridge replacement project will continue. The closure of the US 250 North on-ramp to I-70 East as part of Phase 2 will continue. The Market Street overpass with reduction will continue. I-70 construction will continue westbound where crossovers are in effect. And all existing detours and closures will continue for the I-70 Bridges project. Follow Ohio Valley Traffic Report on Facebook, WTRF 7 News, and the Watchdog for updates.
WKKX and WVLY voted coolest couple in their high school yearbook. You can now watch the Legislative Watchdogs every Wednesday morning from 9 to 10 a.m. on Facebook Live. Talk radio taken to the next level. Only on the Watchdog. Give us a call and tell us what you're thinking. Locally, 304-214-1600. Out of the area, toll free, 866-514-1600 or 304-232-TALK.
The Valley's most interesting conversations continue now on the Watchdog Morning Show with Howard Monroe. Brought to you in part by Wheeling Hospital.
28 degrees at the Wheeling, Ohio County Airport here at my home studios and at the Robinson Auto Group Studios downtown Wheeling. In the heart of the Ohio Valley, some lingering precipitation, snow, rain. Roads are wet in the lower elevations. Might see some spots and patches of ice, but I think the worst of the storm has passed. We'll check in with Zach in a minute or two and get his take on that. In the meantime, a quick reminder to you that you can watch our show as well as listen to it by checking in on Facebook Live. If you have Facebook on your computer, your smartphone, your tablet, wherever, pull us up on my Facebook page, Howard Monroe, my Facebook page, or on the Watchdogs Facebook page. We are on both of those pages, live video feed, in my case, direct from the home studio. The rest of the gang has it direct from these studios. I don't know if you'll see any other feeds today, though, because I think Big Rick and Big Bill are going to be at home today. So I'm not sure if we'll have video for the rest of the gang or not. But anyways, you can check my home video feed by going to my Facebook page or to the Watchdogs Facebook page. You can check the archives on our YouTube channel, which you can find by going to YouTube and looking up the Watchdog, or simplest way to do it is go to watchdognetwork.com, and there's a link there in the video section directly to our YouTube channel, and indeed straight off the Watchdog Network, watchdognetwork.com page, you can actually, I'm just looking here on my computer to pull it up and make sure we're working today. You can actually watch the video feed straight from the network, from the website too. So check out watchdognetwork.com, check out YouTube, check out Facebook Live videos. If you are watching on Facebook Live, you know what I ask you always to do: like it and share it. Hit the like button so that it says you like it. We like to get likes. Hit the like button, then hit the share button. That's the important thing. And share it to others on your timeline or your feed. Or if you're in other groups, you want to share it to some groups and so on, feel free to do that as well. Like and share the Facebook feed, and happy to do that. Also, if you want to offer comments, you can do it on our text line, 304-214-1600, but you can also offer direct comments on the Facebook Live feed. If you're on Facebook Live, a lot of you sometimes just write quick comments on the chat box there, and that's okay too. I don't check it immediately, but I'll check it usually within 10 or 15 minutes. So do all of those things, and you can watch us anytime. And you can watch us anytime, actually. So you can catch the archives by going to our YouTube channel or going to Facebook and looking the old archived editions of the program up. So do that. You can listen to us, of course, on the radio. You can listen to us on your computer. You cannot listen to us right now on our FM in Wheeling. WKKX FM, which is 98.1 is down. Some repair work being done. So that's, if you're trying to do that and you're hearing, that's because it's down. But AM 1600 is up. So listen to AM 1600, AM 1370, FM 97.7, and we'll get FM 98.1 up again sometime later this week once the repairs are made to that. Did I hit all the important stuff, Biffy?
I think we got it all.
All right, then it was time to talk to Zach Petty of the Big Seven.
Yeah, let's talk to Zach. Why not?
Why not? Anything going on in the weather, Zach?
Well, at least it's a quiet morning compared to this time yesterday. I'm a lot less stressed and relaxed, so that's a positive, right?
Apparently, the nighttime was pretty bad, but things got a little bit better this morning. Biff made it in. Seriously, there were concerns Biff might not make it in when we were preparing for this last night. Just got a phone call from our friend John McCabe, who's out and about driving around. Said the roads are, at least down here in the valley, I always, have to point that out. Higher elevations and further out in the country could be different. But down here in the valley, roads are just basically wet. Watch out for maybe a little bit of ice and so on. But things seem to be getting a whole lot better. And that's pretty much the case, right? The biggest part of this whatever it is, this storm, this front, whatever has gone through or is going through and on its way out, yes?
Yes, yeah. It looks like road conditions from what I'm seeing is just generally wet. Major highways, I-70, I-470, Route 2, Route 7, 250, all are just wet. Now, the back streets, the city streets, sidewalks, there could be some slick spots, so take it easy if you're going down to get the newspaper this morning, or if you're just walking the dogs, or I guess people walk their cats nowadays. Hey, I'm not going to judge if you're walking a cat. I mean, I'll just look at you a little funny, but hey, you do you. But everything's looking to improve there. There is a chance, Howard, that we see some stray flurry activity in through, let's say, 9 till about lunchtime today, as well as the possibility of some freezing drizzle. But again, accumulations look to be minimal. Ice accumulation looks to be minimal. Just the chance that we could see some falling precip, so that way everyone can say, well, you didn't tell me this. Well, here's your little heads up, but I don't expect to see much of anything for the rest of the day. It's going to be rather quiet, but just downright cold because of those pesky winds once again. It's a feel-like temperature outside of, let me double-check, 17. I have sustained winds from the west-southwest at 14, gusting to 25, air temperature of 28, so wind chill of 17. But, Howard, to put it into perspective, Dallas, Texas, they are on the verge of breaking records right now. Let's get the Dallas-Fort Worth, KDWD, Dallas-Fort Worth, and their stuff's down nice. But early on this morning, they had temperatures of 1 degree, feels like temperature of minus 16.
I think the governor of Texas was actually asking all of the Texans to stay home today. Because of the weather. So, which is unusual for Texas, and especially for that governor. So it's going to be a cold. Now, I would think what we have to be a little bit careful about here in the Ohio Valley this morning. I don't want to be the fearmonger again, but temperatures are going to be low and stay fairly low. What's our predicted high today? We're going to get right around freezing today. Is that right?
Well, that was our high early on this morning. Afternoon temperatures are expected to be in the mid-20s this afternoon.
Okay. All right, so it's going to be below freezing.
Right.
And there is going to be liquid on the roads, so the possibility of little patches of ice and freezing ice is always out there. People need to be very careful about that. We're giving them sort of the high sign here this morning. Hey, things are better, things are good, and we've had a couple of road reports saying everything's okay. But keep in mind that you still could hit patches of ice and stuff. You want to be very careful out there.
Oh, for sure, definitely. Yep, definitely. But one thing too, Howard, that's actually helping but hurting at the same time, more so hurting your face probably if you go outside and you're not wearing your face mask. I mean, I wear my face mask anytime I'm outside just because it blocks most of the wind. But that wind, it's whipping this morning. It's at 15 miles per hour sustained, gusting to 25. That's actually going over the roadways and evaporating a lot of the water that's puddled on the surfaces.
Oh, okay.
So it's actually helping in a case. But yeah, there is still the possibility that there's some ponded water that, okay, temperatures are still below freezing like we were talking about, and it freezes and the wind doesn't evaporate it fully. But a lot of the winds are actually evaporating a lot of this water. I actually had this conversation with Dr. Dave last night whenever I was driving in, because I stayed at the hotel last night just in case something crazy were to happen with this heavy freezing rain, and I didn't want to risk having an accident with lane closures on the major highway, and now I'm stuck over in the Triadelphia area with, I'm the weather guy, but the weather guy can't get to work.
That's not good. That's not good.
Nope, big problems there. So I took the precautions to stay at the downtown here and was able to get.
But you weren't alone. I saw on Facebook. I saw a number of Highlands employees, people who had to work late at the Highlands, had chosen to just get hotels up at the Highlands as opposed to trying to come down the hill late last night. Overnight was the worst of our driving situation, the worst of the ice on the road, I think. Much better this morning, but overnight things got pretty dicey. And I saw a lot of people saying they were going to just get a quick hotel room and hunker in for the night, which sometimes is the smartest move.
I would have to agree with that. It made sense to do so just because, it was an ever-changing system. I gave Brenda an update at 11:55, and by 12:30 I had to go down to re-update her just because this was such a finicky system with this warmer air continuing to push in. And, it luckily ended up winning because we did have a brief transition over to rain, even extending all the way up into Pittsburgh area as well. But I know you're not going to be happy about this, Howard, but we do have another system coming in Wednesday night into Thursday that could produce more snow.
I was just going to ask about that. I know that this morning is better than we had expected, I think.
Yes.
And the worst of the storm has gone by now. But we ain't done yet. There's more coming, right?
Oh, baby, we ain't done. I wish we were. I'm definitely ready for a break. But so in terms of when, I'm expecting to see another swath of snow coming in right around, let's say, 7, 8 o'clock Wednesday evening. Now, we're going to be right on that line again of, okay, are we going to see that wintry mix or snow based off of surface or upper level temperatures? So that's something that I'll be keeping an eye on. Snow totals as of now are still hairy. I'm still hesitant to put out any amounts just because on Saturday we thought, we were going to see 6 to 8 inches, and then we've had to bump it down ever since. So I'm not putting snow totals out just yet, just out of the fact that it's all going to depend on how much warm air is aloft. But impactful is certainly going to be a word you'll be hearing me say tomorrow as well as through most of the day on Thursday because it's all going to depend on a couple of degrees. As of now, highs are going to be in the mid-30s, but those could continue to drop as cold air is expected to continue to push in. So we could be doing all this again with freezing rain, sleet, and snow Thursday morning and Wednesday night.
Delightful.
Delightful.
The only thing I have to do this week is it's time for my second COVID shot on Thursday. I have a haircut appointment scheduled for today. I just called the barber and said, look, I'm just not going to chance it. I called him yesterday. I said, I'm not going to chance it. We'll move it to next week. So I can live with that. Other than that, I'm in the house. I don't care. But Thursday is my second COVID shot. And I got to go down to Moundsville for Marshall County Fairgrounds for that. So I'm not happy with what you're telling me.
If I had any say in it, Howard, I would be pulling in the warm air that Florida's seeing. Do you even want me to tell you what the temperature is expected to be in Orlando, Florida today? Or is that just going to upset you?
It'll probably upset me, but what's it going to be?
All right, it's going to be 81.
Oh, jeez. Well, somebody's got to be having warmth. And that's why more people want to move to Florida. And not the income tax. It's because it's 81 degrees when we're frozen in. That's what people are moving.
Makes sense.
So Wednesday night is when we should start to see some more snow coming in. And then Thursday. That'll carry into Thursday morning. Is that what I'm hearing you say, basically?
Yeah. Yep, it's going to be another impactful snow event. I'll hopefully have snow totals tomorrow morning that we can talk about, probably see some ice totals. I'll be reaching out to the NWS to see what their thoughts and opinions are, since they were pretty helpful with this past system, where there actually was a webinar that Aaron and I attended here on Sunday morning or Sunday afternoon for this coming system, and they're concerned about this next one. So we're going to continue to keep an eye on it for you. As you know, stay with us and follow us on social media, the Twitter, the Facebook, and we'll continue to monitor it, and we'll keep you guys posted too.
I don't see any. I'm looking at Storm Tracker 7. We do not have any current alerts or warnings. Is that right?
Yep, the weather headline, the winter storm warning headline that was set to expire at 1 p.m. today, they canceled it. So there's no weather headlines throughout the region. Most of those were canceled by the NWS. Right, I think it was right around 7 o'clock. I saw all of our maps go back to all clear.
All right. So cold day, but other than that, and windy day, just drive with care, because you always should drive with care. But it looks like we didn't get quite as bad as, it's not quite as bad this morning. I should be careful. Right. It was bad last night. It isn't quite as bad this morning as we maybe had expected. And now we just got to worry about Wednesday and into Thursday. Thanks a lot, Zach. Thanks for that, pal. I really appreciate that.
Anytime, Howard. Only for you. I only do this for you.
Yeah, it gives me something to think about. All right, Zach, I appreciate it. Good work, and we'll keep watching the Big 7 and Facebook and Twitter and all that kind of good stuff, and checking out Storm Tracker 7, and you'll let us know when things change, if anything changes.
Will do. Thank you, guys. Have a good rest of your day.
All right. Talk to you soon. Thanks. Yep. Zach Petty from the Big 7, WTRF TV, checking in this morning here on the Watchdog Morning Show. It's 8 before the hour. So, again, to recap what we're seeing, Brother Biff got in, no problems. There was concern that he might not, but he got in without any problems this morning. Roads were just wet, basically, right, Biffy?
Yeah, again, just kind of like over to the side where everything was pushed over, maybe a spot here or there that was wet, but again, pleasantly surprised at how the roads were, and again the Fort Henry Bridge. It was a little.
Yes, it is. It is still. It may be under construction, but it's still the Fort Henry Bridge.
I got the suspension still on my mind, but the Fort Henry Bridge, that's closed. The Fort Henry Bridge, that's where it appeared to be wet. And then, again, once I got into town and onto Main Street, it was, it was clear. And again, pleasantly surprised how, what wasn't too bad getting in. I put it this way, I was preparing, for a little bit worse, but what I had this morning, I'll take it.
And we heard from John McCabe, who was out and about this morning, said pretty much the same thing. So the good news is it didn't turn out to be as bad this morning as we thought it would be. But again, those of you who are out and about in the nighttime hours, the late evening and overnight hours, it was still pretty bad out there. So good news is we're coming out of it. Bad news is it's coming back Wednesday into Thursday. The only thing I don't do anything in my life, Biff. I don't do anything that I have to go out for. Nothing. Except I have to get my COVID shot on Thursday. And it's in Moundsville at the fairgrounds. So, and we're going to have another stormy day on Thursday. Oh boy.
Well, maybe it'll change between now and Thursday. There's still 2 days. I'm sure they'll go back and forth with the forecast.
And it's all timing. It's all timing. What's the timing of it going to be on Thursday? Our scheduled appointment is at noon. I have been told you can get there early, and you get in there. But our scheduled appointment is at noon for the COVID vaccine. So it just depends on what exactly how the forecast chooses to go. I guess we'll have to wait and see. And I want to look up something here real quick while we're talking. Yesterday, but there's nothing new on this, I don't see. Today, every day this week, there is a vaccine clinic in Ohio County up at the Highlands, the old Michaels building. And yesterday, there had been a suggestion that anticipating today being bad, they were looking at the possibility of canceling today's clinic. In fact, I had this conversation with a friend of mine from church last night. We had a Zoom meeting, and she was all excited because she gets her COVID shot today. And I said, no, they're talking about canceling that. But at the moment, I don't see anything from the health department on canceling that. So if they're making any changes, it has not yet been posted to their Facebook page, nor have I seen a release of any kind coming from the health department. So as far as I know, the COVID clinics are still scheduled for today. We're going to have to Brad McElhenney coming up next hour about some of the stuff going on down in Charleston. But Senator Ehlenfeld last night called my attention to, all of our attention to, with the Facebook posting, a bill that's coming up for consideration today in the Senate Health Committee. And this is from Senator Ehlenfeld. The Senate Health Committee will consider a bill. Now listen to this. And people say, why don't young people want to stay in our state? We'll consider a bill that would allow welfare service providers to refuse to help a child because he or she is gay, because her parents aren't married, or because of the child's religious beliefs or non-beliefs. Now, think about that for a minute. It would allow welfare service providers, now we're not necessarily talking about the state, we're talking about, private providers who provide welfare services. It would allow them to say, nope, I'm sorry, you're gay, you don't get any help. Or even worse, nope, sorry, your parents aren't married. You truly are bastards. So we can't do you. Think about that. Continuing with Senator Ehlenfeld, specifically, a service provider would be permitted to decline to provide services to a child, quote, under circumstances that conflict with the provider's sincerely held religious beliefs. Again, this is one of those Republican talking points of everything comes down to their, it's a religious freedom right to make those decisions. Senator Ehlenfeld says, and I would certainly concur, it's hard to believe that a bill like this has been introduced, yet alone placed onto a committee agenda. But the fact that it's on an agenda tells us that the majority is serious about making it law. If you object to giving state workers permission to discriminate, you should contact the senators who serve on the committee and ask that they oppose Senate Bill 13. Senator Ehlenfeld gives a link to the membership. Guess who chairman of the committee is? Mike Maroney. Guess who's on that committee? Ryan Weld. So two panhandle of Republicans are on the committee. Maroney is chairman of the committee. Senator Ehlenfeld concludes, I don't believe most West Virginians think this is a good idea, but all it takes is one powerful senator who does to get bills like this moving, so we all need to speak up. If we don't, our state will be hijacked by a few extreme people with beliefs that are inconsistent with how the rest of us feel. I concur with those words, but those are not my words. Those are the words of Senator Ehlenfeld. You can read more about it on his Facebook page, and we'll talk a bit about this bill and several others with Brad McElhenney coming up in the next hour of the show. We'll head off to the nation's capital first, though, for some conversation with Tom Squitieri. And right now, at 8 o'clock, it's ABC.
The Watchdog is FM 98.1, AM 1600 WKKX Wheeling, FM 97.7, AM 1370 WVLY Moundsville.
The ABC News is brought to you by Thomas Auto Centers, Mall Road, St. Clairsville. Get the best deal at Thomas Auto Centers.
I'm Sherry.
All right, back in a minute, Biffy.